shaped and sensual, with a hint of something cat-like about the eyes. The forehead was broad and high, and the jutting beak that was his nose seemed to pursue the Doctor through most of his incarnations. This Doctor was a solid, powerful figure, exuding confidence and energy, yet with something wilful and capricious about him. The extravagant side of his nature was reflected in his costume, which was colourful, to put it mildly. The yellow trousers, vivid enough in themselves, were positively sober compared to a multicoloured coat that might have made Joseph himself feel a pang of envy. Reds, yellows, greens, purples and pinks, all in varying shades and hues, fought savagely for predominance. This quietly tasteful ensemble was finished off with a flowing cravat, a bright red affair with large white spots. Clashing violently with the decor around him, the Doctor stood for a brief moment, lost in thought. A profound sense of wrongness persisted. He ought not to be here, but then, where was here? The Doctor looked around him. He was in a brief, broad corridor, one end empty and featureless, the other leading to a short flight of steps and an imposing door. One swift glance around him, and the Doctor knew effectively where he was. This wasn't one of your blank, metallic, high-tech spaceship, space station, scientific installation type of corridors. The gleaming metallic walls had a rich golden hue, their expanse broken up by ribbed pillars and fussy grilles. The steps to the ornately decorated door were surrounded by a riot of castellated ornamentation. Strange, thought the Doctor, how much you could tell about a culture from its taste in decoration. This particular culture was grandiose, pompous, and obsessed with ritual. It was the culture the Doctor knew best in the entire cosmos, that of his fellow Time Lords. He was in Time Lord territory. It wasn't good news. The Doctor's relations with his Time Lord race had been varied, to say the least. The variations had ranged from his being a hunted criminal and fugitive, an unwilling exile and press-ganged intergalactic agent, to a tolerated eccentric, and on more than one occasion he had actually reached the eminence, unwanted though it was, of Lord High President of Gallifrey. Only the power of the Time Lords could have snatched him away from what he was doing. But then, what had he been doing? With a shock of disquiet, the Doctor realised he couldn't quite remember. Still, no doubt it would come to him, in time. And as for where here was, there was only one way to find out. The Doctor mounted the little flight of steps and stood before the imposing set of doors. He raised a hand to knock, changed his mind, shoved the heavy doors open with a powerful heave, and strode confidently through. He found himself in a huge vaulted chamber, furnished and decorated in the same elaborate style as the corridor without. The hall was dimly lit, and the Doctor could just make out the tall, imposing figure that seemed to be seated opposite him. The figure spoke in a deep, harshly resonant voice. "At last, Doctor." "Am I late for something?" asked the Doctor politely. The figure touched a control, and the light illuminated a small railed area which contained a large swivel chair. "Sit down." The Doctor sat, and more lights came up, illuminating the figure opposite him, sitting in a railed area very similar to his own. The figure was that of a tall, gaunt-faced man, wearing the long cloak, high-collared tunic, and skull-cap-like helmet of a Time Lord court official. This particular ensemble was all in black, and the Doctor struggled to remember its significance. One of those antiquated titles the High Council was so fond of. Something or other. Valeyard. That was it. The tall, sinister figure opposite was the Valeyard, a special prosecutor working directly for the High Council, employed only in the most serious cases.